Hey guys, so today I'm going to go over some of these donut links that I use for my arms and wings sometimes if I want a more dynamic movement and wiggle to that joint versus the hinge joint that just gives the straight up and down movement. It gives you a little more free reign without totally rotating everywhere. And it is a super easy joint to get in place. So we're going to have our sphere, which is going to be like our animal body, right? And then we're going to add a torus. Let's grab our torus. We're going to go over here to that little donut. We're going to make that radius bigger. We're going to, our snap is on 90 degrees. We're going to snap that like that. And then we can move that immediately into our little body segment right there. So there are two different ways that I like to do these type of joints. One way where I cut the donut directly out of the body piece right there, or where I use two different donuts linking them together. So I'm going to kind of show y'all how I do both of those. So the one that where it links straight into the body is obviously a little bit more straightforward. So you just kind of get it overlapped there. Sometimes I will add a little bit of mass in between this loop here so that you get a little bit extra thickness, reinforcing that joint there, whereas you hadn't had it before. So then I'm going to go, I'm going to lower the opacity on that guy. I'm going to lower the opacity on this big thing too so we can see what we're doing better. And then I'm going to clone that torus. And normally with like a square or a circle, anything like that, I would grab the gizmo and I would change the sizing like that. But with the torus, since we want it to be scaling evenly all the way around the donut, we're going to do this instead. Go up here to your donut, go to inner radius again. And then you see it's going to scale in the outside and on the inside, which is what we want. So you're going to scale that up a little bit and then hide that, but select the sphere, our main body segment. We're going to do a Boolean voxel merge. Oops. Yes. And then now, if we make these 100% opacity again, we have that nice hole all the way cut through there. So this ring will then move and rotate easily and smoothly in that length there. And then from there, you can take your, another sphere, add it to body as a leg, something like that. Real nice and easy. So another way that I do these links with the donuts here for limbs and things like that is if I want a little bit more fluid, extra wiggle movement, because this is going to be have a lot of movement kind of back and forth, but not a lot of side to side movement because of this thicker inner part here. So what I do sometimes if I want a little bit more free movement is, let's clone this torus again. I'm going to shove him over here and then clone that torus again. So we have two on this side. And then I'll pull this more directly into the body. Let's turn the symmetry off. Kind of make way for that torus in this body. Squeeze him into there. And that is how I'll connect those toruses sometimes. And then, you can get your little arm, leg, what have you again. Connect it in however you need. Let's validate that. Make sure we have a little extra space. And of course, with all these, like all the joints with these little toruses, we want to make sure that we have them like internally supported with their own geometry. So if we have this donut coming out here, this is going to have a little bit of a struggle with that, how steep of an overhang that is. That's like 90 degrees just jutting out and going around, right? Whereas this one, we don't have to worry about that as much because all of these curves are going to be pretty smooth and pretty mild. But with this one, we want to make sure that we grab some of this body segment, and I will get my drag tool. And I'm going to pull that out into that cylinder to help give it a little bit extra support and love, to make sure it's not going to be out here getting all frazzled. And this is kind of the tricky part with some of these joints, is because I want to give myself enough because I want to give myself the most amount of movement and free wiggle movement as I can, but I also want to provide enough internal structure to where I'm not getting weird fuzzies, zigzags, or like failures and overhang issues all the time. So it's a little bit of a delicate balance there of kind of moving these around and figuring out, okay, how much can I pull this in to support that, or how much, do I need to let it do its thing? And sometimes what I'll do too is I'll validate that and then I'll tilt this a little bit up. So that way we still get that upward angle for that internal support for the printer to build off of without having to sacrifice and make these outer edges thicker. We can still keep those pretty thin, pretty fluid, so that we still have the movement that we want going out to side. So that is two different ways that I do these type of joints. So I'm going to show y'all examples of those. And the butterfly dragon is a great example for this because it actually uses that same joint in both manners. So first we have the legs here, which use that double donut, which gives it more free movement up and down and forward and backwards. Where you see there's going to be some limitations still because of where these internal supports come in from the curvature of the limbs, but you still get some pretty good fluid free movement there. Whereas the wings here are more that donut that goes directly into the body. So we still get a little bit more wiggle room side to side than we would with a typical hinge joint, but the main movement is up and down, where I don't have a ton of free movement, wiggle, side to side. And again, the legs with those double joints there, and the tail also, if it can focus, hello. The tail is also the type where those little donuts go directly into the body segment here. So they just have a little bit of free wiggle, but they're not moving as floppy and all over the place as the legs are. So the butterfly dragon is a great example of that type of joint. So hopefully this is helpful to y'all, and I'll talk to y'all later.